The air hums with ozone from the capacitor bank, thick like a storm brewing inside a mainframe. Dust motes dance in the single neon tube, casting a wound-red glow on hand-labeled vinyl cases. Outside, 1966 is a scent of worn leather and forgotten rain. But in here, 2036 pulses through patched cables, selling reality byte by byte.
Black Star Pirate Radio.
Singapore checks in at 79 degrees and partly cloudy. Winds are moving from the southwest at 6 miles per hour. Our first signal this hour spotlights Norway, where the conviction of Marius Borg Høiby, son of Princess Martha Louise, for rape, renews a sharp focus on consent in the digital age. This case forces us to examine the very foundations of trust and agreement in our increasingly mediated lives.
The Oslo District Court's decision with a 10-month prison sentence for Høiby directly impacts individuals navigating intimate relationships. The chosen next move, the legal system's judgment, sets a strong precedent in a country where digital communication often blurs clear consent. The victim, whose identity is protected, now faces the aftermath of a public trial, and Høiby faces an appeal.
This weaves into the fabric of how we understand intimacy, Lex. The digital trail, the text messages, the blurred lines of a night out, it all forms a complex tapestry where explicit consent can get lost in translation. Who carries the burden of proof, or the memory of agreement, when a swipe or a late-night message replaces a clear verbal yes?
Patching in a caller, the critical thinker. You're on the signal.
Togee, this Høiby case. It feels like the digital world makes everything so ambiguous. What's the real cost here beyond the legal fees? Who pays for the erosion of trust in human connection? And how do we even begin to teach clear consent when everything's so instant?
That's the core of it, caller. When digital interactions become the norm, the architecture of consent needs to be robust, not reliant on assumptions. We need systems that honor dignity and provenance. Moving from the personal to the planetary, we turn our gaze to Vietnam, where a different kind of dignity is at stake. Somewhere a capacitor creaks under the load. Hot metal. The console keeps its lights and its secrets. In Vietnam, police recently rescued hundreds of cats stolen for meat by a crime ring, exposing the dark underbelly of illegal animal trade and challenging our societal contract with other living beings.
In Thanh Hoa Province, authorities intercepted a truck carrying 400 cats, many already dead or in critical condition, destined for restaurants. The chosen next move by law enforcement was the arrest of the driver and confiscation of the animals. But this incident exposes vulnerable pet owners and the sheer scale of illicit operations. An estimated 1 million cats are stolen annually in Vietnam for this trade.
This incident draws a stark line between cultural culinary traditions and our modern understanding of animal welfare, Lex. For many, a cat is a cherished family member, yet for others, it's a commodity. This clash highlights who is exposed, the cats themselves, treated as mere product, and the pet owners left grieving. The visual of cages overflowing with terrified animals is a visceral signal of violated trust.
Patching in a caller. Go ahead.
So, these cat meat rings. It's not just about animal cruelty, is it? There are public health risks, unregulated slaughter, and who knows what diseases. Who pays the price when this illegal trade flourishes unchecked? And what are the actual costs to the community beyond just the animals?
The cost is immense, caller, impacting public health, animal welfare, and the integrity of food systems. We're talking about building an architecture of respect for all life. Kaylin, what alternative pathways could we build here?
Instead of reactive rescues, we could empower local communities with blockchain-backed pet registration systems linked to national databases. This would give every pet a verifiable provenance, making stolen animals untraceable for illegal trade, essentially making them unmarketable to the crime rings. The current system relies on sporadic police busts. A viable alternative would be to architect a preventative digital fence around every companion animal.
Hold that thread. Next signal. Australia Politics Live, Ensitwats to lower road toll. An elegant re-architecture, Kaylin, leveraging provenance as protection. From the vulnerable to the vital, let's shift our focus to Australia, where state budgets are blueprinting the future of public life. Australia Politics Live, New South Wales prepares to lower a road toll cap, while Queensland promises a surge in infrastructure spending in today's state budgets. These announcements outline contrasting architectural approaches to civic well-being and economic strategy.
The NSWABUS government's chosen next move is to cap household road tolls at $60 per week, impacting over 70,000 drivers and costing the state an estimated $560 million over 2 years. This directly exposes NSWABUS commuters to immediate financial relief, while Queensland's budget will promise a colossal $30 billion over 4 years for transport, health, and education infrastructure, exposing taxpayers to significant long-term investment.
These budget blueprints reveal how states architect public sentiment, Togee. NSWABUS offers immediate, tangible relief, a direct nod to the dignity of the struggling commuter. Queensland, meanwhile, plays the long game, laying down concrete for future generations, often tied to major events like the Olympics. Who gets to define the value proposition here? Instant gratification or a generational build?
Signal coming in.
This all sounds great on paper, but who actually pays for these caps and these massive projects? Will my taxes go up in NSWABUS to cover that toll cap? And for Queensland's infrastructure, are we just building white elephants that won't actually serve the communities, or worse, displacing people for these grand designs?
Excellent questions, caller. These are not just fiscal decisions. They're architectural choices for civic life, defining how we consent to funding our shared future. Kaylin, what alternative blueprints might serve these communities better?
For NSWABUS, instead of capping tolls, a viable alternative could involve renegotiating existing toll contracts to implement a true user-pays model, where pricing adjusts dynamically based on traffic flow and public transport availability, encouraging system-wide efficiency rather than just subsidizing existing usage. For Queensland, rather than large-scale top-down projects, an alternative could be to allocate a significant portion of that $30 billion to community-driven urban planning grants, allowing local councils to design and implement smaller, localized infrastructure solutions directly tailored to neighborhood needs, ensuring consent is built from the ground up.
Two distinct architectural paths. One, adjusting the existing financial flows. The other, decentralizing the design and execution of our civic spaces entirely. Both demand a recognition that self-worth is structural, not contingent on external validation, and that our collective architectures must reflect consent, provenance, and dignity. Keep questioning those blueprints, because the sovereign architect is always within. You're listening to Black Star Pirate Radio.
Black Star Pirate Radio.
Continue the signal at TogeeVision.com. Tune in, Sparks and Stories, Gig Passport.